Hi, and thank you for joining us here at Tax Talk UK, where we talk about all things tax and try to help you to navigate all aspects of running a business, including being a private landlord and how this impacts you. And today, as part of our bite-sized demo guidance series on how to efficiently use your Freeagent software, we're going to look at the Freeagent landlord license, and I'm going to show you how to allocate the transactions that you have coming in and out of your account. One particular thing that I want to focus on today is if you use a letting agent who make a deduction from your rental income for their fees before sending it on to you, you will remember from previous videos that it is important that you accurately account for that as the full amount of the income and the expense that has been deducted, and not just use the difference as the income. So if you just use that difference, so let's say, for example, your agent receives a £1,000 rent from your tenant and they deduct £100 and they send you £900, then by accounting for that £900 as the income, then you're not going to be accurately reflecting your total income from that source, or your also known as your turnover from that source. So it's important in that example I just mentioned that you account for the £1,000 rental income and the £100 deduction for the fees and any other deductions that may be made. The principle is the same. Of course, if you're managing your own properties and receiving the full rent in, then this won't apply. But we're going to look at all of the transaction types for allocation, but have a particular focus. I just wanted to explain first why we're going to be doing that, so that when we get into the video, you understand why I'm showing you how to split out those fees. So I'm just going to jump into the demo software now, and we'll have a look. So here we are then in the demo software for a landlord license. So we're assuming that you're already set up. So you have already set up your properties. So if you are familiar with Freeagent, the principles are all of the same, but there's slight different nuances, such as being able to allocate the income and expenditure to specific properties if you have more than one. That can be really useful, so you know how profitable each particular property is, and you will see that the categories are a lot more straightforward. So we're all set up, and let's go into our bank account, which we have linked already with the bank. So if you are new to using software to sort of deal with your landlord income, then it's important. You will see why it's important to have a separate bank account. So it's not the end of the world to have other things, but you'll just see that it's just going to mean extra allocations for you. So you will remember generally from Freeagent, for approval means that if the feature's turned on, to guess your transactions, that this is transactions that Freeagent think are correct, and you just simply need to check and either remove the explanation if it's wrong or authorize it. Unexplained are what we're going to look at today. So if we click on the link to explain those transactions, here we will see all of the transactions that don't have any allocation. So let's look first at the payments out, because that's way more straightforward. So let's just take a look at these two. So we've got two options really with a money out. So we may have generated a bill So that would have been for a scenario maybe where we received the bill from somebody and we didn't pay it straight away, so we added the bill, and at that point is where we would categorize what it was for, what property. And so in this scenario, if we click on the transaction, it's automatically suggesting the bill that it thinks it's for. But if not, say for example, if it wasn't showing that correctly, we just navigate to bill payment. And if we click in the box, it would show you all of the bills that were available to be paid. And if we explain that transaction, you've now told Freeagent that you have paid that bill, but not entered any categorizations, because that would have happened at the point that you put the bill on. Not everyone will use the bills, and that's absolutely fine as well. So if we click on this £88, let's say, for example, that is for insurance. So we just simply choose the category. So we've got all the drop down ones here. So you'll see that they're all sort of fairly self-explanatory. And here we get to say which property that's for. So we're going to say that we've paid the insurance for Baker Street, and that's what that is for. And we explain the transaction, and that has now told the software that in your profit and loss, you need to add £88 to the expenditure for insurance and which property it's for, which we don't need overall for the accounts, but that will be able to give you some useful information when you've got more than one property. So let's now turn to money coming in, and we're going to assume here that we've got some properties that we deal with and manage directly, and some through a letting agent. So we're going to say that the Baker Street property is through a letting agent, but the others are managed directly. So this £47, so this is going to be rental income, and this is going to be for 1 Main Street. So simply, that is all that we need to do on that transaction, because the money's coming directly. That £47 is the total rent for that property. And so now, by explaining that transaction, we're telling Freeagent that for that year or for that period that we want to we want to add to the profit and loss an income of £47. And just for our reference, we know that that was against 1 Main Street, because you'll remember that for the accounts, and when it comes to submitting your tax return, it's the total and the cumulative of all of the incomes and all of the expenditures for all of the properties. So let's explain that transaction. So this one here, then, £95 from letting agent. So on this one, we do need to account for a deduction by the letting agent. So in this scenario, we're going to say that the total rent that the agent received was £105, and they made a deduction of £10, sending us £95. So as I explained at the start, if we just allocate that £95 as the income, then we're under declaring that income by £10. So obviously, as things become more digital, things are generated sort of dictated by turnover and income. It's really important that that figure is accurate. So this is rental income, and it's for Baker Street, but we don't want to just allocate that £95. So Freeagent have made it really easy. In the adjustments, you'll see fees and commission, and this gives us a little box where we can say £10 has been deducted, and this is letting agency fees, and it's relevant to Baker Street. And if we save and finish that, now you can see that that £10 deduction has automatically now been allocated as a letting agent fee. And now you can see that that £95 in has increased to the 105, which now allows us to allocate that as rental income against Baker Street. So just a little sort of really brief overview on the allocations that you will be doing in your landlord account. Certainly, the people that would be our audience is the affairs would be fairly simple, and so as you can see, it's going to be really easy to do your allocations. You don't have to use the bills function. You just allocate all of the money out, say what category it's for, and which property, if you've got more than one property. As I say, the property element is for your internal use, for your own information. It's the total that's going to be important, and the rental money coming in, if that is coming in direct from the tenant or you're receiving all of the income, then you can simply allocate that as rental income. If there is any deduction between the tenant and you being received, then you can see that you can just make that adjustment to fully account for the full income and the expense. So the profit obviously is going to be the same. So you see in that scenario where I had £105 income, £10 expense, the profit is £95. If we allocated that all together, the income is £95. So you're not, it's not impacting your tax liability, but it is impacting your reporting of the correct and the accurate income from that source of income. So I hope that that has been helpful. If you do have any questions on that, then please do feel free to ask questions in the comments. And if you haven't already, then do please subscribe to the channel. If you are using Freeagent, please do feel free to navigate to the playlist section of our YouTube channel, where you will find all of the videos that we have so far on the on how to use the Freeagent software in that sort of series of bite-sized demos. So thank you very much for watching. Goodbye.